The secret that Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson have kept hidden for years has finally been revealed. In the twilight, as the sunset dyed the West Los Angeles sky purple, a small text message from his old cameraman popped up on Jamie Dornan's phone. "Remember that night? Get home safe." Jamie looked at the message, confused. He couldn't remember the appointment with the cameraman, and what night was it? A strange, haunting feeling crept into his mind, like an invisible shadow slowly creeping through his mind. What about Dakota Johnson? She was in London, preparing to shoot a scene for a new movie. But quickly, another call interrupted Jamie's thoughts. Jamie. They know. The words, the tension in the voice. The person on the other end of the line laughed awkwardly. "We have to meet." Jamie hung up, his heart pounding. Why? Who? And what did they know? The nightmare that had lasted 5 years, since the day the secret was buried, seemed to be coming to an end. The beginning of the secret, 5 years ago. A wrap party was held at a Malibu mansion, amid laughter and red wine. Jamie and Dakota had just finished the last day of filming on a movie that was destined to be a blockbuster. The set was filled with yellow lights and sparkling champagne. They had come there as close co-stars, sometimes mistaken for dates, but never. After the party, when the crowd had thinned, they stayed. No one but them had said, maybe a little emotion, a little suppressed excitement, hidden under the guise of close co-stars, soul brothers. In the quiet of the night, they held hands, looked at each other silently, said things they had not dared to say in years. No cameras, no physical evidence, just whispers and a growing feeling that only they could feel. The next morning, they parted ways as strangers, each going their separate ways. They never spoke again, as if, in that moment, something sacred had happened, and only they knew. Consensual silence. After that night, Jamie flew to London to take part in a TV project, while Dakota stayed in Los Angeles to prepare for an advertising contract. A fragile bond began to form, but was quickly stretched by their respective orbits, busy schedules, and media attention. They didn't make plans, didn't talk on the phone for long, but in the silence, a quintessential sense of connection was always present. Neither of them mentioned that night to anyone, nor did they allow it to come up in any conversation, not with family, friends, or colleagues. It became a forbidden secret, something that did not exist, but was so powerful that it dominated each person's ego. Every time the camera was pointed at him, they passed each other with bright smiles, eyes without any doubt. Everything was just normal. But deep down, they knew it was the best thing they had ever hidden. Dense network. Years passed. Each person achieved their own success. Jamie with impressive roles, Dakota became a famous brand face. They lived in the spotlight, but inside, they were as fragile as butterflies. Finally, someone began to suspect. Not the press, but an old friend, the cameraman at the party that year. He, who was very close to both of them, suddenly had strange expressions, furtive glances, overly casual polite questions. That night, did you have anyone else? When he gently suggested it, Jamie denied it. Dakota laughed awkwardly. They realized, if outsiders knew, things would explode. And they had to tighten their circle of relationships. They started to limit their meetings with that person. They also limited their conversations about the party. The friends around them clearly knew, but pretended not to know. The first crack. Then one day, the email came. Not anonymous, not threatening, but enough to shake the soul. Malibu night. I know. Meet me tonight, or you will pay. Jamie panicked. The email left no clear trace. He left a message, intending not to tell Dakota. But the trust and cooperation between them was greater than vague emails. Dakota quickly cut back on filming and flew to Los Angeles. The phone conversation was hasty but warm. They both join hands. No one knows who the letter is from, or what it says, but both understand it as a sign. The secret is about to be revealed. A date at an anonymous bar. They meet at a small, deserted bar in the suburbs of Los Angeles, Nightshade. They meet the sender, a strange back. No one mentions his name, only agrees to meet to exchange information. The person hands him a USB, his voice low. Here are videos, photos, messages, enough for you to make everything public. Everyone will know, the whole world. Jamie almost snatches the USB. But Dakota gently holds it back. We agreed to share a part. But in our own way. Don't be angry. The negotiation goes on in silence, the yellow lights dim. Finally, the Strangurto make a report, otherwise. I will. 0.48-hour countdown. Time flies. Jamie and Dakota have not contacted anyone else, no information is known. They hire lawyers, prepare a statement, not admitting, but not denying. Focus on an interesting moment between two colleagues at the film's closing ceremony. Just enough to avoid judgment, just enough to control their power. They also hold a secret press conference, inviting only a few of their closest people, managers, film directors, a few close friends, to make it public in their own way. 48 hours end, and the news comes out, not from a third party, but a joint statement from Jamie and Dakota, posted on their official website. In a press conference, there is no need for a Hollywood extravaganza, just a small gallery, with soft lights, with only those who really need to know present. Jamie stands up, her voice running but her eyes filled with determination. We want to share a real truth. A moment happened between us. After the shoot that year, Dakota held his hand, smiling. In that moment, amid the broken lights and smiles, we found each other. But it was just a moment. No strong words, no promises of longevity. A simple connection, and sacred. Both looked straight into the camera, stating clearly, we chose to come out of love and respect, not fear. It was a recap, but enough. The audience, the press, the fans, the reaction was mixed. Partly emotional, partly curious. No scandal, not the noise the media created, after the report. The media called it, the gentle moment of the year. No one elaborated. Someone wrote, they chose to be silent, then chose to speak out, in their own way. That is maturity. Jamie returned to the set with a lighter heart. Dakota returned to London, using the time between her busy schedules to write an analysis of the subtleties of secrets and trust, published in a prestigious art magazine. The two, then, remained friends, sometimes a little more intimate, but without hiding it. And often, standing together, between expressive eyes, one could feel, a sincerity had been exposed, a connection so brief, so delicate, but enough to leave an impression on the heart. The end, a secret blooms. Another night, 5 years later, a peaceful evening, when the sea breeze was comfortable. Jamie and Dakota met again by chance, without the spotlight, but inside a gentle tea at a small Mediterranean cafe. Not together as lovers, not as co-stars, just two people who found deep sympathy in each other. Dakota smiled. The result is, the secret is finally released. Jamie looked straight. And we did it ourselves. They laughed, softly. Outside, the sky was clear and starry, as if to testify that a brief moment had been enough to change a lifetime.